Hey, welcome to Feel Good Fridays at NECAT, where we talk to people from nonprofit organizations here in Nashville. I'm Cameron McCaslin, NECAT's Director of Content and Member Relations, and joining me today is the NECAT Board Chair, Tyler Pittman. Our guests today are Sean Bacher and Terry Luke from the Nashville Public Library Foundation, which provides Nashville Public Library with critical support that bridges the gap between public tax dollars and additional funding that is required to offer award-winning programs that empower our community, ignites children's imaginations, and foster lifelong learning. Founded in 1997, the public-private partnership has raised more than $50 million to develop a dynamic library system that provides our neighborhoods with vital opportunities at no cost to participants, cultivating a better future for everyone. Terry and Sean, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you, Cameron.
Yeah, so just for our audience sake, tell me what you do with the library and the Library Foundation. I'll start with you, Sean.
Yeah, I'm Sean Bacher. I am the president of the Nashville Public Library Foundation. And so what that means is our primary purpose is to support the Nashville Public Library. And that means everything from support financially, and we've also started some advocacy work to advocate for the library within our community.
Okay. And Terry?
Sure. Hi, I'm Terry Luke, and I'm the Assistant Director for Branch Services at Nashville Public Library. That means that I get to oversee the services and programs of all of our 20 branches.
Okay, awesome. So, Sean, you kind of talked about this there in your intro a little bit, but what is the role of the Nashville Public Library Foundation when it comes to supporting the Nashville Public Library?
Well, many people may not realize that it takes more than public support through our metro government for us to have the award-winning library that we have here in Nashville. And so it's the public support that pays for our buildings, it pays for our books, and it pays for many of the librarians. But it's the foundation that exists as a separate nonprofit organization to raise private support to ensure that the Nashville Public Library thrives, and I like to say is the best civic institution in our county. And then, as you mentioned, Cameron, we were founded in 1997, and we have raised over $50 million in private support to advance the impact and the reach of Nashville Public Library's programs and initiatives. The library is really here truly to serve all, and the foundation ensures that there is programming for all. It could be, we like to think about it as really holistic programs. So it's everything from the little bitty kids, and it could be the puppet shows, it could be the story times, through our school-age children, which is opportunities that we partner with the metro schools through Limitless Libraries programs, making sure that all of our public school libraries have access to the full collection. And that requires some additional funds to make sure that there's enough books to go around to the school libraries, but then to make sure all of our branches still have enough books for anybody who would want a book. Also then, if you think about our teens, we have maker spaces at many of our branches that allow the teens to come in, explore technology. It could be everything from recording podcasts to doing actually sewing, which I found fascinating. But when you put it in the guise of fashion design, it has a totally different perspective than sewing did when I'm thinking about my home ec class in 9th grade. So the teens will come and have an opportunity to make their own videos, explore virtual reality. And then for adults, the programs continue. And one of the particular things for our seniors, we have a program that's making sure that our seniors know how to use technology. It's just digital inclusion for seniors. And so it's kind of runs the whole gamut. Like I said, from the little bitties to those who are older and our senior population. And so really the foundation gets to make sure we have a lot of the fun stuff, both at our branches and out in the community.
Right on. I know whenever we got into, just started talking about making the show and Nashville Public Library being the first guest that we were going to have on, it's just so big. You know, you guys do so much that it's hard to like block it all into this space and say, okay, well, let's talk about everything. But with that, like, Terry, talk to me a little bit, just for the viewers at home, if you're new to Nashville and you're unaware of everything that's going on in the library system, talk to me a little bit about, I guess, the history of like NPL and like, what the library offers, separate to that or in depth or anything specifically that you love that it's doing or has done. Because is it 21 branches now?
Yeah, 20 branches and the main library.
That's crazy.
I know it is. Well, sure. So that's, an interesting question. And I think I'll start with the first part, which is talk a little bit about the history, because there's a lot of history. So we actually started library service in Nashville in 1899 when we opened the Howard branch. And then library services continued in the early 1900s when philanthropist Andrew Carnegie actually donated $250,000, which at that time was a lot, to build 5 additional branches. And 2 of those branches still exist today in Nashville Public Libraries. We just celebrated 100 years of service over the last 5 years at both our East branch and our North branch. And then even though, we're talking about we evolve and change over the last 100 and, plus years, our mission in libraries stayed the same. And our mission in Nashville Public is to inspire reading, to advance learning, and to connect with our community. And so even in the 1950s and 60s, we were doing that when we started bookmobile service for people who couldn't actually get to the library. We went to them. Then we even had a reading room in the airport. So, as we continue to grow and evolve, then the next big thing for me would be that we opened the main library on Church Street in 2001. And that facility is 300,000 square feet. And so there is just so much that is offered out of that facility. And then for me, the next highlight is really because Nashville has been on the cutting edge, and because we have such a wonderful foundation that actually does provide the fun stuff, we have been recognized nationally by Library Journal in 2017 as Library of the Year. And that is truly an honor, and it just goes to 1 library per year. So that's, to me, the first part of the question and the history. The second part of the question, what I would say about what we have to offer is that I love that question, but we have so much to offer that I think what I'm going to try to do is just give you some highlights, because obviously, people can go to our website and really find out anything that they would like to know. But, the thing that I'm most proud about in joining Nashville Public Libraries is that, while we provide those traditional things that people come to expect from libraries, whether it's checking out books or it's a children's story time, DVDs, and, music and things like that, the reality is that, Nashville provides things, Nashville Public Library provides things that I don't think that everybody knows. And I'll just highlight a few of those. I'll start with the fact that we have an extensive e-resources collection. So whether you would like to download a book, if you would like to see a DVD, something in a DVD, a movie, songs and music, our e-collection is there for you. And we've actually expanded it during the pandemic. So you don't even have to leave your home, and you can go ahead and access those resources, which has been really critical during the pandemic. The other things, though, is that we actually have, and again, these things that are funded through the foundation, we have wishing chair production. So we have an entire troupe of theater people who they actually will create something from scratch. But it's based on a book. So we have a wonderful, collection of productions that the main library, there are days, on Saturday that there can be 1,000 people that are waiting to see one of our latest productions. I would be remiss if I didn't mention some of our other wonderful things at the main library. We have an award-winning the civil rights room, where we have 10,000 people a year that come to visit the civil rights room, and that staff actually present 100 plus programs a year in our community, whether it's school students or it's customers who are visiting, or even the police officers that are going through their training. So that's there. And then right across the hall now, just in August, we were able to add the Votes for Women room. And again, due to our donors and our foundation, we were able to celebrate the passing of the 19th Amendment and women's right to vote, and actually take it further because we celebrate the role that Nashville played in passing that amendment. So there's just, we also have are really fortunate to have Metro Archives. So if you need to know about the history of Nashville, we have that at the main library. And something I really appreciate is the Library for the Deaf of Heart and Hard of Hearing. And that actually serves the entire state. And the person that manages that is just incredible. And the things that people can come in and try, whether it's a new phone system for them or a new alert system, that's all there. And so those are just a few of the things, but if there's other things that people would like to know about, they can definitely go to our website and find out more.
Well, I was just talking to someone at the library last week about how all the different ways the library has served me over the years. And I have two daughters. We've gone down to see the puppet shows. I've watched movies down at the main library, in the theater there. I'm a documentary filmmaker myself, and I have my last movie. A lot of it, I did a lot of research in both the civil rights room and just looking through catalogs there about the Harlem Globetrotters, basically, and trying to just find all that different documentation. And people at the library were so helpful. But then I think about 20 years ago when I first moved to Nashville, and I was still a very young man, and just kind of getting started. And I used to live 2 streets over from the Richland Park branch, and I used to walk there every day to check email and do things like that, because I couldn't afford internet access when I was 20 years old, and just trying to find a job when I first got here, and was basically sleeping on couches until I could get started. The library provided that for me in my life. And, it's like, and I think about how throughout the years, my needs have changed, but the library has always been there for me. And so I think that's just, it's incredible, just all the different things that you guys do. You touched a little bit on the pandemic and how things have changed. Obviously, Feel Good Friday is one of those things where this was built out of the fact that we're all working from home. I'm sitting in my home office, as it seems most of you are right now, and it's a different way for people to watch television. But I want to talk a little bit about the pandemic and kind of how how that has changed the way things are going for you. So I'll say to you, Sean, like, when it comes to the pandemic, how is it impacting like your fundraising and things like that for the foundation? And how are you basically doing the projects that you would do in person? I know you guys had a gala that was coming up that obviously it's not safe for us all to be in the same room anymore, but talk to me about how you've pivoted with that and what you're doing instead of what you had planned to do.
Yeah. Well, I think pivot is the kind of the word of the year for all of us. And so that has definitely been the case for us as well. The foundation, we raise money in 3 primary ways. One is from individuals, one is from corporations, and the third is from events. And we have found that the individuals and the corporations that have not been directly financially affected by the pandemic have continued to be very generous. I think that does say a lot for our Nashville community of, we've all heard and we all feel so good about the fact that when we're in crisis, we do rise to the occasion. And I think that has been our experience, particularly for those who in this time are able to give. They have continued to give and give generously. There are some people who've had to reduce or put their support on pause for the moment just because they have been personally affected, and we fully understand that. I would say the biggest shift that we have experienced in our fundraising has been a result of our events. And Cameron, you had alluded to that. About 1/3 of our revenue comes from our big events, and our biggest event is our gala that we have in the fall. And so We will be still having it, but it will be a stay-at-home gala. And so this is our 17th year, and I think it's going to be the most unique one we've ever had. For those who have participated in the past, I think they will still find this to be meaningful and memorable. Typically, we focus on one author. We bring in a great author that speaks several times throughout a weekend. They speak at 2 specific fundraising events, but we still have a public lecture with that author. Truly in the spirit of the library, we want to make sure everybody has access. You don't have to be able to write a big check to be able to have access to the author. So that's why we have always done the public lecture component when we bring the author in. But this year it's kind of exciting, and again, trying to think through, we actually had already arranged for Colson Whitehead to be our literary award for 2020, and this was before he won his second Pulitzer, and then when he won his second Pulitzer, we're like, oh yes, we hit the jackpot. We got him before, I mean, obviously he had already won 1 Pulitzer, so it's not that the world didn't know he was great, but yet we got him like at a great moment. But what we decided is let's put a hold on that until 2021, because for us, we just felt like we would not be able to capture kind of the true essence of Colson in video form, and we wouldn't be having a full weekend of activities. So he was very gracious and actually I think excited about saying, yes, it will be best for everybody to wait till 2021. So for those of you who are big Colson Whitehead fans, mark your calendar for November of 2021, because he will be with us. But this year instead, we said, let's shift and really talk about our own community and the inspirational library stories. You know, Cameron, you shared your story about how 20 years ago for you, the library was a place where you could go and access your email. And yet today, now that you have children, the library is a very different experience. And so we felt like instead of having just one celebrity author, let's talk to the people of Nashville and let's hear their stories. Let's hear their library stories of how the library has made an impact for them. And so we're going to do that with a few surprise guests as well, that evening of November 14th for our stay-at-home gala. And so that will continue to take place. And it is our hope that that will still be a great fundraiser. Kind of as I said, we have such an amazing community that believes in the library. And so even though not everybody, a lot of people love to get dressed up and come down to the library for a party. I think there are secretly some who are excited to not have to put on their tux or get in their fancy dress. But generally, everybody who has traditionally supported us recognizes, you know what, this isn't going to be us gathering in the beautiful lobby of the library. However, we so believe in the work of the library, and we will continue to support it this year. So it's really worked out well in the sense that we can kind of add a different flavor to this year, but also say next year we're going to be back, and we already know we're going to be back with an amazing author. And so I think we're kind of in a sweet spot to be able to celebrate who we have and then look forward to who is going to come with us.
I know for me, it's been one of those things this year where 2020 has been a lot of bad news, and every day you wake up and you feel like the world is on fire to a certain extent. But I always try to remind myself that I know down the road, once we get to the other side of this, I'm never going to feel bad that I've got to spend a little bit more time at home with my children, that I've been able to read some more books and watch some more things. And the time that I get the couple hours back that I spend in the car. NECAT is kind of in the same situation where we've been closed for almost 6 months now on the studio side, and we're trying to help our members make productions at home and do things like that. And we're trying to get the word out for our services to them. So the pandemic has changed things, and I know that it's changed things at the library, but I know you guys are still doing some things there. So Terry, can you tell me just a little bit about how is the library still working? I mean, like how are you guys getting books out to people, and how are people still taking in all the information that you guys provide?
Sure. Thanks for asking that, Cameron, because I am so excited that and so proud of our library staff. They have worked so hard to really shift and adapt. And, if anything, this pandemic has taught me, it's that you can't keep story times away from our customers. So our quickly adapted, and our customers and our little toddlers and preschoolers are still able to see their favorite staff member doing story time. So we've been doing story times online since April. And so not just for children. I mean, we're providing programs for adults and teens, including cooking classes and art lessons. Our staff have such amazing expertise in areas that we didn't even know about before. And so even our book clubs have shifted to be available online. So we haven't just done programs, but the other thing is we created something called NPL Universe that is available on our website. So anything that our staff was doing in person at the library is now available online, and it's free. So really proud of that, whether it's our salon 615s, or it's a wishing chair production, or it's a cooking class. All of those things are available on NPL Universe. If that wasn't enough, our staff created Book a Librarian, because what are the things that we do for our customers? We answer reference questions. So our customers can either by video chat or by phone can talk with their favorite librarian and book a time that's convenient for them, and they can book that online, and then ask whatever question. If it's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready for this Zoom meeting and I can't get my Beats headphones to work, I can, ask the librarian. So, and aside from that, one of the other things is we're always, doing what librarians call reader's advisory. But basically what that is we've created library concierge. So what you can do is you let us know, we'll create lists for you, whether it's lists of, videos in your favorite genre that you're like, I don't know what video to watch anymore. When it's different to browse in the library versus browsing online. So we felt like this would be something that our staff could do. So we can create a book list of, I've read everything by my favorite author, so now what do I want to read? And our staff will do that for you. If you're a mom and you're trying to homeschool, and they're going through a certain subject in class, we can pull a bundle of books for you. And the nice thing about that is once our staff go to the shelves and they pull those books for you, as of June, we actually started to offer contactless curbside. And so what that means is that you can go to any of our 7 regional branches or our main library, and they're available the same hours that we were before the pandemic, which means Monday through Friday, Saturdays and Sundays. And you actually put your book on hold or your DVD, and then you get a notice from us that says, hey, like, your book is here. And what you do is you go over to that library where you reserve the hold, and you call our staff from the curbside parking spaces, and they will bring that out to you. And I think what people think about is, oh, curbside is just about books. But in reality, we've had to shift our summer reading challenge remotely and online as well. And so our customers can pick up their summer reading challenge prizes. They can pick up seeds from the seed exchange. You wouldn't be amazed at how many of our customers have missed be able to reserve and pick up their seeds for their garden, because a lot of people, because of the pandemic, are gardening that weren't even gardening before. So voter registration forms. We're actually even doing free mobile printing. So we do that during reserved hours, but just so much. And like I said, I'm so proud of the staff and everything that they've been able to do. And so we're looking forward on September 21st to be able to expand those curbside services to our Donaldson branch, our Goodlettsville Inglewood, and then also keeping Thompson Lane open. They've been serving as the curbside pickup for Edmondson Pike regional branch because we've been doing a flooring project there. And so we're really happy to be able to expand out even further into the community. And, you know, we are so appreciative of our customers. They have been, you know, so great about watching online programs and picking up books at curbside, but we really do miss them. So a next phase that we're wanting to do is called 1.5, and I don't have an exact date for that, but we want to open with reserved time slots, computer access at designated branches and the main library. So, so that's what we're doing during the pandemic.
That's awesome. I'm I would call myself a library nerd in the sense that I do read quite a bit, and I check out movies from you guys. But it's things like Seed Exchange. That's the thing that's like, I haven't personally used that, but I remember the first time I saw that and I was like, that's incredible. It's like, what a great idea that I don't think people realize it, because whenever you think about a library and a librarian, I think there's a stereotypical way people think about it and how that stuff is used. And so whenever you start talking about, like, we go over to Antioch sometimes whenever the library is open, and my daughter has gone over there and like played video games, you know, with kids and stuff like that before. Like, there's stuff that you guys provide that I just don't think people think about it being part of the library. So it's good to open that up. So let me ask you both the question and answer accordingly. So you've got 21 branches of the library. On a personal level, which one is your favorite?
Oh, that's so not fair. I'll let Sean go
Put you on the
first.
spot.
I think, so Richland Park, as you said, Cameron, is, that's my neighborhood one. So I think, and my husband jokes with me that when we first moved to Nashville, I insisted on getting my library card even before I would get my driver's license changed. And that was before I worked with the library. And so it was, to me, that's kind of just an anchor. The library is an anchor in one's community. And so because I'm in Richland Park area, I just feel like that is our anchor. But our offices are actually at Maine. And I think I'm influenced by my kids because they love to go to the big library. And we're at Richland Park frequently, but it's a treat can we go to the big library? And that's just with the reading fort, with all the books, with the courtyard, with the puppet shows and all of that. It's feels like it's truly a field trip for them. And so I guess I'd say both of those.
And actually, Cameron, I'd have to say that, you know, because of over branch services, what I realized is that, you know, there's different things that, even though we provide the same services and similar programs, there's different and unique things for each one. So I think it's really hard. But I guess if something, you know, was from my heart, what I would say is that it would be Bellevue. And the reason for that is that I actually worked in Wake County Public Libraries in North Carolina for 32 years. And then we visited Nashville as a family over a long weekend. And of course, the guys were going golfing, and I called and said, what's your newest library that I can go visit? And at the time, Bellevue had just opened. And so I went there, and to see the facility, it is it's very beautiful. And, you know, and the staff, to me, you can have a beautiful building, but if you don't have wonderful customer service, then it's just a building. And they didn't know who I was. And, you know, when you went to every different part of the library, they asked, you know, for help. They asked if I needed help. So, while I love all of them, I would have to say, you know, Bellevue has a special place in my heart. So,
and Bellevue definitely has the best of the CD collection. Whatever I've been inside. If you still like looking through CDs, Bellevue is the place to go. There's so many of them there. So
yes.
That's fantastic. Well, let's talk a little bit, you know, here towards the end about how someone can take advantage of all these different programs. How do you get a library card?
Okay, so you get a library card right now. Normally you could come into your local library and get your library card. But right now what we're doing is online registration. So you go to our website and you can get your library card, and it's free if you're a resident of Davidson County. And then what you can do is actually physically pick it up when you come to curbside to pick up whatever it is that you would like, you know, whether it's your book or a DVD or seeds from the Seed Exchange.
That's fantastic. So I know for you guys, I correct me if I'm wrong, but library.nashville.org is the main website where they can get all that information. There's more information on the gala there. There's more information on how to get a library card there, on all the different fantastic programs that are going on. Is there anything that we missed that you guys just want to drop on here at the end? Just let people know at home what they're missing.
Yeah, if I can just add one quick thing. So the foundation actually has a separate website. So that's nplf.org. So National Public Library Foundation.org, nplf.org. And we've talked a little bit about your library story. We would love to hear what your library story is so that we can share them with the public, particularly for our gala and for our public lecture this year. And so if you go to nplf.org, there is a place there where you can submit your own library story. And we, like I said, right now we're just working to collect those. So we'd love to hear from many of you. Cameron, I would encourage you to go and share over the past 20 years how your library story has changed. But I am convinced that we all have a library story, and we just love hearing what those are.
That's
And
fantastic.
and if I could just chime in for 1 second, I think that all the information you guys have touched upon is only just a tip of the iceberg. We're going to post all those links at the bottom of this video. We're going to encourage our members to do those stories. I personally, would say that this is a big month for civil rights, from both the women's suffrage. Today, I believe, is the 65th anniversary of Emmett Till. And you're talking about that civil rights wing. The library here in this town, especially the main branch, is I think second to none. We're so excited that we can actually have this time with you and be able to also broadcast some of this content that you have on our channels. And for you guys to be part of this Feel Good Friday is just a wonderful thing. And I just personally wanted to thank you as chair of NECAT. Just thank you so much for what you do and for being able to be on here today.
Well, thank you for letting us share our story. We appreciate it.
So the great thing about Feel Good Friday, so we're doing just trying to fundraise right now for both NECAT, and every week we're picking a different nonprofit. This week it is the Nashville Public Library Foundation. So any money that we raise this week through our website, necatnetwork.org, or our GoFundMe that is running right now via all the Facebook. If you're watching this online, it's probably in the links below. You can donate there. Half the money will go to NECAT to help support our users, and half of it is going to go to the Nashville Public Library Foundation to support all the wonderful programs going on over there. So we encourage everyone to get the word out, share the video, and just let people know how they can support things that are going on in their community. So thank you both for coming on. I said we've enjoyed this so much, and if there's anything we can do over at NECAT to help support this, let us know. We'd be happy to have you guys on again, talk about what things look like a couple months from now whenever we get, let's say, to the other side of it.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. It was awesome.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.